Hey, what is up guys? Marsleaf here, back to do another video, and today we're playing against Dirty Dutch on Atacama Road. This is a pretty epic game. I'm going to give you all my commentary as this game gets underway. It is a first person video, but I am talking over the footage. And this was one of the final games of the day that I played, and there's several things that I've done to my 4K mod, which you're going to see in this game, that will affect what you see. So I am going to be playing as Black Hand, the green Black Hand, Dirty Dutch on the other side of the map as the Black Hand as well. Didn't really like Black Hand mirrors in the past, still don't like them that much, but you know, after I modified something, I am liking them a bit more. I'm going to do something with the Saboteur. In fact, I was working on it a little bit earlier, where the helmet of the Saboteur shows the player color. So if you pick like cyan, that green helmet that it has will be the cyan color. And I think that would be a pretty good fix for that unit, because it's really difficult to see in team games and even in 1v1s whose Saboteur is whose. Cabal's going to start opening fire here. A little bit unpredictable who's going to win that fight. The hallucinogenic grenades, I think, have a slightly less pre-fire delay, though it could be just me. I'm going for the flame tank. What I like to do when I'm making the flame tank rush is power down my refinery, and just to get back on, I guess just to get on out of low power state, because I can queue the flame tank faster. A lot of players upgrade their power plants when doing this rush, but I need that $500 more in my eco. Power is not really a priority. I think it's better to just forego the power plant upgrade and get another harvester out sooner. As you can see here, I've got that. But now here you see the bikes have found my flame tank, and there's one of the things I was talking about with the attack bikes. You can see those bikes are starting to lay down some hurt on that flame tank, actually managing to intercept it. I don't know why I lose my voice really quickly when I'm casting. I had to momentarily pause commentary there, but yeah, Cyber never has this issue that I have. I always tend to just lose my voice after a couple of minutes of talking. So the flame tank gets caught, unfortunately. 3 or 4 bikes there for Dutch. He's going to get those back to base for repair. I did manage to snipe one of them, so it could have been a bit worse. I've got the Black Hand squad and Cabal out. Going to target down that tip spike guy. Use a trick which I like to call the Whitey Force Fire. And what is that, Leaf? Well, you can force fire the ground in the fog of war, and units such as flame tanks or Black Hand squads will target the ground, and that actually deals damage to structures. So you don't have to wait until you get near those buildings to do damage. You can just get that attack command on it even without scouting the structure. Maybe we're going to get underway with an expansion, but I did want to stop and deploy it because I have a plan here. I'm queuing bikes from 2 war factories. I've got a lot of them out, but what I want to do is I want to make use of one of Nod's core design principles, which is to deceive and decept the enemy. So I'm going to decoy up all of these bikes here, and I purposely sent one bike to the bottom of the map to gain vision for my decoys. I've got a real one there, which I'm going to put ahead of the decoys just to make it look like it's a real bike force. As you can see, he's targeting down that real bike, and he knows, probably can assume that that's a bunch of real bikes there, while my main force of bikes goes for his original base. So here I am, and Dutch didn't Q-move everything, so I don't know if this was deliberate or not, but I'm unfortunately not going to kill any harvester with that move. As good as the move was, and as good as the execution was, I didn't kill any of those harvesters there. The bikes did able to shut that down. But I have had some really successful moments with that trick that you just saw. You have to use a real unit to make it look believable. I'm making 2 flame tanks. I saw he has bikes and buggies to tank damage, and I thought, hey, I'm Black Cat, I've got these veteran flame tanks. Why build buggies for meat shields when I can just get one of these flame tanks out? Those are veteran, they've got more armor. I think for the cost they are a little bit better than the buggies, and they deal more damage as well. They force the bikes to focus down the flame tanks because flame tanks deal massive damage. So now I have all of his bikes destroyed. There's a flame tank there which I'm going to use to destroy his buggies, which the flame tanks are exceptional at, but their range is very low. It's hard to close in to those units. I'm still queuing bikes. This is pretty non-stop game. I don't think I've had any chance to talk about stuff. But this is why I like playing against Dutch, man. He's one of those players who is just relentless early on, as well as me. This is why us always clash so hard in the early game, because he always is low eco, as well as myself. This is what brought me to play Kane's Wrath actually over Tip Wars. I just prefer this style of play more, with low eco strategies on one base, or even on 3 or 4 harvesters, and not ever rebuilding eco unless you have an advantage. It's a fine balance to make. Unleashed was really good at this. He would often forego his harvesters for units and just attack non-stop. Flame tank getting underway with a counter attack. I want to bait those bikes of his to attack the flame tank so I can get some free shots off on his bikes, but it does take a perfect coordination, so you have to have these going in at the same time, otherwise the attack will fail. Bikes of Dirty Dutch though flanking my force completely. I'm going to try and get these bikes split up though. He's focusing down the flame tanks. Perfect opportunity for my bikes to kill his. One harvester of mine may fall. I actually win that fight, which was great. 2 blue tip harvesters at the blue Tiberian field as well. I'm going to try and get some blue tip while he's busy dealing with this flame tank, which he has to. Blackhand flame tanks are just unavoidable. You have to kill those. Another flame tank in the left hand side. I'm going to see if I can destroy that war factory of his, or even better, a refinery. 1 flame tank down. He's taking out these flame tanks. As you can see now, he's got a double refinery, decoy armies up his bikes, and those new bike rockets have the green glows on them, which is like the Rocket Squad RPG, but they still use the bike projectile. All I did was added the glow to the projectile container, and it makes the damage more visible on the bikes, so you can see much clearer the damage, the incoming damage, and I think it's better for like readability. My refs are very close together. I think that can be an issue later on. I'm building 2 barracks here. I was a little bit frustrated losing that force, but Dutch is moving into this base. I'm going to sell off these structures. As you can see, I've got an alert message saying that I've disconnected from the server, just as I needed to sell my Shredder Terror off for a Confessor Cabal buff. That happens to me at the worst possible times. I should have a compilation of the worst error messages I've had, because I get them every single game I play. I can't seem to avoid it without using a VPN, and I'm not spending money on a VPN monthly just to get rid of a Kane's Wrath message, so I just put up with it. It's better than paying 10 or 20 quid for a VPN, which I'm just going to use to play Kane's Wrath. VPNs also increase the ping slightly as well, so I get a little bit more lag. I use the power scan here, which is free in R19. Something you can do in R19 is also combo it with the catalyst missile. You can actually catalyst missile your opponent's refinery if he puts a power plant next to a ref, because you can use the catalyst missile targeting cursor on top of those power plants that are revealed with the scan, and if there's a ref next to the power plant, then yeah, that's a way of killing your opponent's ref without even scouting his base with a buggy or something. So now I'm in a bit of trouble. I've got no harvesters, absolutely no harvesters. I've only got 1 purifier as well. That's my whole army. Dodge putting down that obelisk. I am dead. I think anyone else in this position would have just quit the game by now. I lost all my harvesters to those bikes, to those one clicks. I have one harvester to my name. That is all I have left. I sold my tier 2 off. I wanted to get a flame tank. I was a bit frustrated here because I wanted a flame tank to try and see if I can get some damage dealt on his base. But the reason I sold off my base here was to get 6 grand of resources. My hope was he commits a large force of tier 1 units to kill this Purifier. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. I did kill 3 of the Scorpion tanks though. Black Hand Squad there will be an issue, but I'm getting the Confessor buff, so my Black Hand Squad will win that fight decisively. I'm starting to rebuild my harvesters. I don't have my tier 3, nor do I have my tier 2. I have a chemical plant though. And this Purifier is just being a real pain, isn't it? He's just sitting back there on hold ground stance. I did change the stance of that Purifier. I'm cutting off bikes from attacking me on the right hand side. 2 obelisks down for him, but he can't get those obelisks into range. He's pushing forward with his MCV. Redeemer comes out. I'm going to kill this obelisk real quick. And my sights were set on this refinery. If I can kill this ref, then perhaps I can one-click the other one and deny his income. So I'm doing very much damage with very little, and I'm just about going to get this refinery despite him crushing those Black Hand Squads with, or rather singular Black Hand Squad with that harvester. I don't have to be afraid of bikes coming my way. There's a Redeemer out, and now I am in some trouble. I've got the Purifier still alive. That one Purifier has done some amazing damage, but I'm still very much on the back foot. I need my MCV back out to get back in this, but I'm only on 3 harvesters and 1 refinery. He is on more eco. He has his tier 3. He has an MCV. He's now taking blue Tiberium. I thought I could cut this off because I've got rockets on the right hand side, so maybe I can cut that harvester off if I order the rockets there to kill the Harv from the other side. And I think he knew that he couldn't take a full load of blue Tiberium. That's why he's gone back to base. In fact, he does have a full load. He's probably got more than 1 harvester there. That would have been another harvester. So he's going to be bringing in 2 full loads of blue Tiberium. Not a good... That's definitely not good for me one little bit. Saboteur on the left hand side. I'm hoping to grab his MCV with that. It's going to be a tough ask though, because he may not even expand at this point. I've only got 1 Purifier. This is my army. This is all I have left. 1 Purifier, man. I'm starting to queue these Scorpion tanks because I need them against the Redeemer. I sell my chemical plant off. I was maybe thinking of using Tiberium Vein Detonation, but it's clear to me now that he's going to be going for a Redeemer and a bunch of avatars, or in his case Purifiers. Even a secondary MCV. He's going to go into that sort of tech. I'm going to deny the blue tip harvesting, so this Purifier is still doing work for me. I'm going to deny that income for him, and I'm not going to push into his base for that Purifier because I know it will just get taken out by an obelisk or even his Redeemer. So I'm just going to YOLO swag it to his MCV with this engineer. As you can see, there is a heroic commando there. There's everything that can kill this engineer right there. So it's going to be a miracle if he can snipe that MCV. It's just really unlikely, but I'm going to try it anyway. Maybe he'll get distracted. Redeemer moving across the map. Black Hand Squad there as well for me, which I got for selling my tier 4. I'm going to use that and kill the spike. The beam cannons I made here was to kill the commando, because buggies don't really do it very quickly, but the beam cannons with that grenade type damage can kill the commandos really quickly. So I did almost get this MCV. That harvester almost crushed my engineer. I've now got myself an MCV, 2 MCVs, and since he's the same faction, that's like me building another MCV. So thank you very much, sir, for that MCV. Very much appreciated. Purifier going into the back of this base. He is just melting through this base. I'm going to kill out that shredder turret as well. I've got my double ref back on my field. Redeemer out for Dutch. I've got the MCV. He's probably floating a ton of cash. It's a huge army comes to my base, comprised of infantry, Redeemer, and Tib core bikes. So my eco is in some major peril. I'm frantically trying to place down these shredder turrets. They don't have quad turrets, nor do they have charged particle beams. Redeemer going to use its rage gen. Fortunately, he used it there and not when my army was actually engaging him. So I rallied my harvesters over to the almost fully regrown first Tiberium field of mine. Aims to be taking some damage. Purifier still alive in the back there. I killed some of his base off. Nothing really that's going to win me this game. I've got 10 beam cannons, which is enough. Assuming these beam cannons can combine their beams, I can do some major damage on this Redeemer. And as you can see there, the beam cannons are starting to do some huge damage to that Redeemer. And I want to try and cut off his infantry and expansion. So before I lose my MCV, I'm going to put down some shredder turrets in that area just so I can stall the bleeding a bit. Redeemer is about to go down. That's all I asked of those beam cannons. But it's now the tip core bikes which are an issue, and they have the same treatment as the regular bike with that green glow on their projectile. I'm queuing shredder turrets still. No charged particle beams. Really could have needed it at this point. Purify. I'm going to get back to base for some repairs. And I need to get an engineer into that MCV. It's quicker and cheaper to build an engineer at this point to heal that Conyard back up to full health. So those Scorpion tanks hold the line. Those beam cannons hold the line. I've got one refinery. A pretty good eco. My concern was getting one clicked by a catalyst missile. So I'm rebuilding a refinery. I'm going to put it on the other side, just in case I get hit by that catalyst. I did lose both of my tier spikes, so I can go on 0 funds and essentially have no way of winning the game at this point. But I'm still in a pretty bad position. It's nice how I made these beam cannons, because if I had went for Scorpion tanks, he would have been able to push me with those obelisks of light. Charged particle beams for him. No charged particle beams for me. He's pushing in with infantry. Those shredder turrets are getting focused down. But I'm researching quad turrets just so the hub turret can't be destroyed as easily. Those beam cannons I'm going to use to kill the bikes. Not the best counter to bikes, but they do a fair job, I guess. If there's a few bikes, you can destroy those with beam cannons. They die pretty much instantaneously. And he's just funneling in these Tiberium core missile bikes. I did kill the MCV of his with the beam cannons. Beam cannons going to focus the last of those shredder turrets. Purifier getting near that base as well. Force some repairs. Bikes going down. Harvesters leeching Tiberium for Dirty Dutch. Of course, he still feels in command of this game. He's still got his MCV, so I only have a couple of beam cannons left and quad turrets. So I've got my quad turrets. He doesn't. That's my upgrade that I have over him. And of course in R19 there is no desync. So you can build and upgrade quad turrets without fear of your game being out of sync, because it was simply fixed. These beam cannons are the artillery unit that I needed. It was pretty much the best unit I could have built in this position. A lot of infantry coming into my base, but I have the ability to place down shredder turrets for days. I've got 2 MCVs. I'm going to plant another refinery down on this expansion soon, because I'm getting pretty low on funds. He is likely not on an MCV, so if I kill this Hand of Nod, he's not going to have any more infantry production. And I thought, hey, let's just bake this infantry into the beam cannons. I'll put down these quad turret shredder turrets and start killing this infantry force. I'm setting some of them at the back there. Bikes being destroyed. Lots of forces there for me, as well as that full health Purifier, which has not been promoted. He certainly deserves a promotion, that is for sure. Allowing me that breathing space to get my harvesting down and recover in this game. That Purifier basically gave me the win in this game. Dirty Dutch, he is dead now. There is nothing he can do. And he's going to throw it in and say GG. So that was a pretty epic game, if I do say so. A lot of things went my way there, especially with that Conyard cap with the Saboteur, that Purifier around the back. And I thought it was great also to highlight some strategies, especially with that decoy army bike move, which didn't win me the game or do anything ultimately, but sometimes it can be very, very good. So I want to thank you all very much for watching this game and this replay, guys. And if you did, then don't forget to hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. And if you want to support me and what I do, then you can go ahead and support me on Patreon, and you can use the links down below for that. So this is all I have to say. So I want to thank you all again for watching this video, and this is going to be me, Master Leaf. Peace out.